apologies, I can't quite bring his name to mind, but I'll do that for you in a moment. But meanwhile, the young Turk can rest on because another man to come out will be the Slovak, fifth a year ago, lifted 137.5, which put him in 9th place in the European Championship snatch competition last year. He's going in here at 135. Well, he eventually got the feet still and in line. And seemed to have done himself much good. He's walking off the stage very gingerly, but he's got 135 on the board. And I think we're going to climb higher straight away in terms of weight. The world record, 162.5 kilos by Zhugan Zhang in that fabulous Olympic weightlifting competition. And now Murat really being urged on here, coming in for his 135 second attempt. So still 4 kilos short of his PB. And not able to do that. By the way, if you see one or two of our pictures just bouncing a bit, I tell you, we're in the sports hall, but essentially it's a basketball hall, and it's a very springy floor underneath this stage, and quite a lot of things bounce around. We're quite fascinated to know what's going to happen on Sunday afternoon when we get to the super heavyweights, and they're really throwing some kicks down. So 135, he's got one more chance. So Murat composing himself at the moment. Too much activity down there. There's Ferry just sitting quietly. Attila Ferry, who 152.5 was his Atlanta snatch. Lifted 150 in the world, so we're some way before he comes in. Just checking the chart here, seeing what he suggested he was going to open at. He suggested 150 kilos was going to be his weight for the snatch, so that'll be quite interesting. Got a real chance, Ferry, to go for gold here. Meanwhile, outside, I can tell you that the man coming onto the Conley, it's 135 kilos now for a third and final time. Be the first man to finish his 3 lifts. Turks with a good crop of youngsters at these championships. That's much better. Really one flowing move, got the balance exactly right, and that's a very good effort. 135, and that's what he's going to end on for his first half of the competition. But this is part of his education. No one's expecting medals from him tonight. Just watch here the position on the bar. He gets that up there, just holds that really well. It's an excellent position, and he's able to drive up. Just a small adjustment with his feet, and he gets 3 white lights without too much fuss or bother. Now, there are 2 Hungarians in the competition. This is the first one. It says Ardian, but I have to say, by all accounts, his name is actually Adrian. So, married, wife Mariana. He's been lifting now for some 12 years. Yet to hit the real heights in this sport. Again, competing in 64 kilos in Atlanta, now moving up to 70 kilos. That was very good. No problems there whatsoever. 25 years of age, formerly from Romania. 1 or 2 of the Hungarian lifters have made the journey, not a particularly long journey, but they've made the journey across, and now are members of the Hungarian squad. The Hungarians have had some joy today with 3 silver medals for snatch, clean and jerk, and overall in the 64 kilos achieved by Zoltan Farkas, if you were with us earlier on this afternoon. Now this is Andreas Bem for Germany. The Germans have come here under the head coach Frank Montague with a very strong squad, and there is no one now actively lifting in the German team that has more experience than this man. 137.5, the weight on the bar. Solidly there. The technique is so good. This man who lives in Stralsund, which is about 100 kilometers from Rostock on the North German coastline, won the European Championships in 1986, Olympic bronze medalist in 1992, and with the recent retirement of the big man, Manfred Nährlinger, is now the most, or the longest serving lifter in the team. Incidentally, he's the only member of the team who isn't a member of the army. He works in the for the town council in Stralsund, so he has to mix training with work. Now here's a very interesting young man, 21-year-old Belgian. Good to see Belgium finding a useful lifter. This man was champion in Finland at the European Union Championship just a month or so ago in April in Pori, and he lifted 143 kilos in the snatch, and he's attempting 140 now. Oh, we're starting very positively tonight, and that's nice to see. So François Demour from Charleroi, 21 years of age, and looking very solid there. Arms nicely locked out. Kept that going really sweetly. Had a better crowd in the hall tonight. Now so Hutch for Slovakia comes out for his second lift. Hutch was successful, I should say, second lift. First one was 135, that was successful. This is 140 now. Equal to his personal best, but not equal to it at the moment, and he's got one more go. Competition last year dominated by the 2 Bulgarians. Vanev and Zeliakov, and the man who they beat, Batma, is yet to enter the affray. Now Adrian Popa, 25 years of age, 5th in the Olympic Games in the 64 kilo class, won by the great Naim Suleimanoglu. So that was no mean feat. But he was in illustrious company last year with the likes of Suleimanoglu and Leonidas. Popper fails at 140, got a 137.5 on the board. Just really never gets that bar above his head. Watch it here. Well, he's got one more go to see whether he can do that as the rain shatters down on the roof. Not been a great couple of days. Rijeka, the host town, very much built around the port. Some 200,000 people here. And down the road where the lifters are staying in Opatija, the holiday resort. And Rijeka's where they work, Opatija's where they play. And coming coming out to follow himself again. And he's got, well, he's got all of 50 seconds in which to take this lift, so plenty of time. Doesn't have to rush this, just needs to get himself sorted out. To be. And so Adrian Popper ends his 3 snatch attempts with just 1 success, and that's 137.5. Got it just about as far as he did when he tried it the first time. So at the moment it's early days, but the man who has the lead in this snatch competition is the Belgian, François Demeur. And Andreas Bem now coming out to try 142.5 kilos. 34 years of age now, Andreas, but there's Frank Mantek, the head coach for the German squad, mastermind. Really has done a good job. Look at them, they're massed there. Coaches, physiotherapists, psychologists. And the Germans are a force to be reckoned with. Of your picture there, Mantek was orchestrating every move. He's got 142.5. The Germans really here in force, including the mayor of Riesa, because the Germans very hopeful that they will host the next European Championships in 1998 in Riesa, not too far from Dresden in the eastern part of Germany.
Second attempt, number 2.
Bem really well organised. So Hutch now for Slovakia, pacing and racing. Still got 40 seconds. And needs to lift this up. He failed at 140. So he's trying to get himself back on his championship plan. Well, acrobatic, but he slips back down to 135 kilos, his first lift. Got very deep, bottom on the ground, and had to let go and roll out backwards. No harm physically, he'll just be disappointed mentally. But dented his confidence. Now here's a man whose confidence looks pretty good. François Demeur for Belgium, 140 kilos. 5 kilo increase now, 145. That, for my reckoning, according to what we have down, would be a pretty good result from him. We were checking back just a moment ago on the European Championships last year. He finished 13th in the snatch and only lifted 130, so this would be a heck of an increase in 12 months. Driven it up there. This man is very, very determined about the work. And 145. That's certainly going to improve his chances of moving up the table. He's got one more lift to come, but I have to emphasize that the big guns, Seliakov and Vanev, Bulgaria, Turkey's Ergun Batmaz, and of course Attila Ferry for Hungary have yet to begin. So now this is Bem in picture now, 145 kilos. World and European titles. Olympic bronze. Was back in Barcelona in '92 in the 67.5 kilo category as it was then. Very, very slow but deliberate and calculated address of the bar, and then Montague just gives him his final. And they've got 3 out of 3. And when I say 3, or when I say they, I mean they, because this really is. You'll see it now. Montague congratulates him. Back he goes. 3 out of 3. The boy's done well. Now he has to wait, get himself ready for the clean and jerk. Andreas Bem with 145. Body weight of 69.80. Demeur of Belgium 69.70. So he's going to finish ahead of Bem at least in the snatch section. But now surely we're going to see one of the big guns. Indeed we are. Plamen Zhelyakov. So Francois Demeur of Belgium with 145 kilos leads this snatch competition in the 70 kilo category, but the gold, silver and bronze medalists yet to enter the competition. Only moments away. Also still to lift, the Hungarian Attila Ferry, and on paper at least, in recent form, it should be these men who you're about to see who should be fighting out for the major honours. But I must say, Demeur of Belgium, he's still got one more lift to go, and he's only got 38 seconds, and in fact he's coming on again very rapidly to jump to 147.5 because he doesn't want to be pushed to 150. He's got 30 seconds now. So this is all a little rush, this late change of plan. Now, can he do this? It's not easy when you're rushed like this. This is real pressure. I think it all happened a lot too quickly. He had 10 seconds left when he picked the bar up. That's a disappointment. The first 2 lifts were well organised, and I can tell you he's just going out of shot here, and he's not very happy with his coach. I think he was found himself caught out in the games being sorted out between the Bulgarians as to the weights they were going to lift. He suddenly realised that the Bulgarians were going to open up with 150, didn't want to go that far, and had to nip in for 147.5. And with all that going on, found himself with only 30 seconds. So perhaps a bit unlucky there, the Belgian. Now, the defending champion, sometimes known as Vasiliev, other times known as Vanev, but Zlatan, his first name, won the title last year, won the snatch lifting 152.5. That's 150 kilos, steadied and approved. Zlatan. You see here really not so much of a problem. This man lifts in the German Bundesliga, the season-long competition is very useful. And now here comes the other member of the Turkish contingent in today's competition, and their main hope, Ergun Batmaz, 29 years of age, European bronze medalist a year ago behind Vanev, attempting the same weight, 150 kilos to begin with. Bravo, and lots of applause here. quite a gallery building up behind this man. I mentioned before the new president, Kenan Newhut. They have the elections every 4 years for the new Olympic cycle, and he's got the responsibility or the honor of being president of the Turkish Weightlifting Federation, and here to watch his men. Turks have got a pretty decent squad here, unlike the Greeks, who've been really resting and so far paid the penalties, if you put it like that, because they haven't had that much success. Sabanis losing his 59 kilo title, and Salilis this afternoon in the 64 kilo category. Very disappointing, having missed 3 snatches and 2 of his 3 clean and jerk lifts also not successful. Zeliakov now, and here's another, this is where the game goes. Zeliakov with 25 seconds in which he's just going to have to literally come on. This is the silver medalist. With all the games with the weights going on, he's got 18 seconds now to lock on and pull this up. This is not the ideal way to come and address the bar. 12 seconds left on the clock. Plamen Zeliakov, 25 years of age, representing Bulgaria with 5 seconds now. And again, that he can do this, but they got it wrong. Kashalov there, the Bulgarian who won 59 kilos last night. I'm not sure whether there's too much advice going on there, but that's a failure for Zeliakov, and I'm sure he's capable of doing that. Zeliakov, who was 4th in the Olympic Games, lifted 155. Now Ferry for his first lift, the bronze medalist, coming in also at 150 kilos. So this is a fascinating competition already. Early days, but already interesting. Another Hungarian, formerly from Romania, got a bronze medal in the Europeans in 1995. Very good at the clean and jerk, but if he can stop. Get the feeling that was a hiccup for him. Hopefully it's a minor one. The snatch, where he often gives kilos away and then makes up on the clean and jerk. Zeliakov will be the next man in. You can see it didn't get anywhere near his head. Now this time Zeliakov's got a full minute, so he have time to prepare properly. I don't think he had a real chance. Last year in the Europeans, he lifted 152.5 kilos. And just looking at his personal best, he's got a personal best of 160 kilos. World record is 162.5. And that's the second failure. Now he really is on pressure. Just checking here, also the European record is actually 160 kilos, held by Fedayel Güler of Turkey. You might wonder why he's not in this competition. Well, he's not 100%. He had a rotten time last year in the Olympic Games, elbow injury, which ruled him out of the competition. This year he hurt a knee. It's not that bad, but he wasn't ready to come here. But all being well, he'll lift in earnest at the Mediterranean Games in Bari in Italy around about the 14th of June. That Mediterranean competition comes up. So back to Ferry now. Second attempt, had a failure at 150. Like Zeliakov, really needs to get this. Well, the Olympic bronze medalist is now under real pressure. Because that not only is pressure, but it's a real setback, because what does he do? Does he go for 150 kilos, or is he brave and add some more weight on and try and not only succeed in the third lift, but also keep himself in the firing line for the overall title. Now, he's going to have to answer that question in a few minutes, but before he does, here's a man in exactly the same position. 25-year-old physical education instructor Plamen Zaliakov, coached by Dimitar Tram. Been lifting for 12 years. Come on, Plamen. Get it right, and he has done. And there'll be a big sigh of relief there. Peshalov looking at him coming off the stage saying, what was all the fuss about? He did that easily. There's Peshalov. Peshalov, who won Bulgaria's first gold medal of these championships yesterday. Won that, of course, in the 59 kilo class. Peshalov, who won Olympic bronze in Atlanta. Now here comes Ferry. He's got to do what Zaliakov has just done to keep himself in the hunt. And these men will be worried. Hal Gluckman, the main man, the main coach. "20 seconds on the clock still. Got to get the bar moving before time runs out. Above the knees. Well, there's the first shock of the evening. No total possible. Attila Ferry, only clean and jerk honours remain for this man. And just like Giorgio Tselilis for Greece earlier today in the 64 kilo category, Attila Ferry failing to get a score in the snatch phase and ruining his chances of a overall medal. And it's the overall medal that these men really want. Just Rover rotates it and out the back door. So Vanev I should say, is Zlatan Vanev, the defending champion. He's got 150. So has Ergun Batmaz. And that's Françoise Demeur you just caught a picture of. And there's 30 seconds to go and the clock is running. And coach is all crazy around us now because there's the defending champion Vanev. And the weight has been put up to 152 and a half. And it's the Turk and his team, Ergun Batmaz, who are playing the hard cards now. Putting up to 152.5. Just to tell you the situation here, Vanev is the lighter of the two men at 69 kilos 70. Batmaz is at 69 kilos 90 at the weigh-in. Batmaz, of course, will have one more lift after this and will decide what he does. But first he's got to lift this. That looks good, and it is. So, two good lifts. And the Ergun Batmaz Fat Club is really vocal at the moment. You see, he really keeps this bar moving. Good speed over the head. Look at that. Absolutely in line there. And no question. Now Vanev will now put the bar up because you've got to put the pressure on. But this tactic is in his favour. He's going for 155, which means that if he's successful, and he'll still have another lift after this anyway, Batmaz can't afford to just go up to 155 because he's the heavier man. He'd have to go to 157.5 if he wants to win the gold the snatch. So if the Bulgarian defending champion is successful with this, it'll really put him in a very good position in his quest to retain the title. Looks good, doesn't it? Well, he had a really long hold, and he gave a scouring look to the German who was in the central refereeing position there. Just checking who that is tonight. But no question, has the strength to do that. So he goes up to 155. Actually, the Belgian referee, Bruno Felicetti, Italian-sounding name, but so Batmaz going for 155. So being conservative and maybe keeping his powder dry until they have to take on each other in the clean and jerk. So he gets 155. That's 5 kilos more than he lifted in Atlanta. And it's 2.5 more than he lifted in Stavanger in the Europeans a year ago. And it means that the Bulgarian Zlatan Vanev has won the snatch section, but he has one more lift to go. He's won it by virtue of having the lighter body weight. What he'll want to do now is get an extra couple of kilos. 2.5 kilos would help in his quest towards the overall title. And here he is, 157.5 kilos on the bar. That's a European title last year, his first major championship win. He can't get that 2.5 kilos. So he's got the gold, which he won last year, so he's retained snatch gold with 155 kilos. Exactly the same weight is Ergun Batmaz, who takes the silver. The heavier man. And the bronze medal, just checking on this unofficially at the moment, it's going to go to Zeliakov, I think, of Bulgaria, who lifted 150 kilos. That to be confirmed. A short interval now of about 10 minutes whilst the lifters get ready for the clean and jerk phase. So competition which has swung all sorts of directions at the moment. The biggest shock, of course, Ferry of Hungary, the Olympic bronze medalist, 3 failures in the snatch at 150, and that has really ruined his evening and the evening for the Hungarian fans who had high hopes after Farkas's 3 silver medals for Hungary earlier in the day in the 64 kilo competition. So now just waiting for this confirmation. It looks to me as if it's Zeliakov. Good performance there by the Belgian Demeur, who lifted 145, and I think he might have got 147.5 had his coaches not rushed him on with an impossibly few seconds in which to compose himself. We'll be going away to the sports centre in a few moments. So the first medals of the evening decided, but it's the overall title that really matters. We're going to take a short break and then we'll be back here in the sports hall in Rijeka. Well, that's the situation after the snatch. Well, you just saw it briefly there. It is indeed this man in your picture now, the defending champion Zlatan Vanev of Bulgaria, who's taken the gold medal in the snatch. Meanwhile, whilst they prepare, we're going to go away for the sports centre and catch up with the latest news with Carlton Kirby, and then we'll be back very shortly with the clean and jerk competition. Just see here, Vanev, this was his successful second lift, the one that secured the gold. But can he go on and retain the overall title? Join us after the Sports Centre. Welcome back to the Sports Hall in Rijeka for the clean and jerk section of this 70 kilo competition. Well, a few ups and downs. Particularly Attila Ferry, Olympic bronze medalist, looked to have cut the finger on the first lift, and after that missed the next two, and effectively now out of the overall competition. Interesting to see whether he actually will come in and take the clean and jerk lift. Just a reminder of the 9 men who line up here, and just to underline that 1 or 2 men, as a result of some slip-ups in the final tonight, have been overtaken by some men who lifted earlier today in what is the B group final. The best of those being the German Arkadiusz Schmolka of Poland, who move up into 6th place. But here we go for the beginning of the clean and jerk competition. British fans, Stephen Cruikshank lifted earlier today in the B group and snatched 122.5 kilos. That left him in 16th place in the snatch. More of that a little later on. Now, this is Murat Conley, 20 years of age, from Ankara, 135 kilos. That was in the snatch. Now he's attempting 165 in the jerk. Conley, 5 kilos below his personal best now. 167.5 European record for the jerk is held by Fedor Gula. So 193 kilos. So some way to go to get to that. World record, Zhugan Zhang of China, 195 in taking the Olympic gold. François Demeur will be the next into the hall. I think he's going to put the bar dramatically up to 170. Touch unlucky in the snatch phase. He's just come on stage while you're looking at this replay here of Conley. Here is Francois. He had a very good 140, 145, and then, frankly, I think some blame must be attached to the coach. He didn't really get a grip of what was going on at the time, and his man had barely 30 seconds to get on stage to try and get the third snatch at 147.5, and didn't make it. Kilos gets the clean. European Union champion of 1997. Well, he's got the buzzer, put the bar down at 170 kilos. Did 173 kilos just recently, and Pori winning that European Union title. A few adjustments to get the whole thing balanced, and then the drive up. Chucks it up. Murat Conley with a 165 already achieved. 70, and it's too much the first time.
2 minutes.
Conley, who was down in 12th place after the snatch. Zeliakov, the European silver medalist, on the right of your picture. The Hungarian platform on the left of your picture. 2 Hungarians in the competition, of course, Adrian Popa and Attila Ferry, but at the moment Hungarian plans have been washed away. Germans so it looks to me as if he is going to take those clean and jerk lifts, and he's won the world title in clean and jerk before now. Last time, in fact, was in China in 1995. A little while before we see him, though. So the third and final attempt at 170 for this young man, who's got bags of support in the hall. In time, maybe. Has to settle for 165. And so Conley finishes with a total 135 plus 165. So he's on 300.
Prepare for the next wave, number 5, Bulgaria, and number 8.
57 seconds and counting down there. 193, you can see that's the record. That record, just to explain, that is the European record. That is not the world record. The world record is 195. Here's the Slovakian, Rudolf Lukács. Again, pretty experienced, 29 years of age. In 10th place at the moment after the snatch. Used a fair amount of energy achieving the clean. And perhaps a bit too much. And that was his first attempt at 172.5.
For the second attempt, always number 6.
Got a personal best of 175. You can see here, just down in that very low position, just a fraction long. But he had to drive up from a very deep position, just using a little bit more of that precious fuel. And may well have to try again in a moment if no one decides to come in and raise the stakes. Before this evening begun, Ferry really was the man most likely to upset the defending champion. Been pretty well at the top of the European ranking list this past 12 months, ahead of Vanev and Zeliakov. just can't, just got out of position there. So Hutch, a minute still left. On 72.5 for a second time. Now that was a little better. No, still not there. Under real pressure, if he fails next time, he will not get a total and therefore will not be ranked in the European Championships. So disappointing. Hutch has been lifting quite a while, began in 1979. Married. His wife Katerina might well be watching this. His young daughter, who was born just a year ago, Victoria, probably won't be. But they'd be a bit worried, as we are now, with just one attempt remaining. And I think he's going to have to follow himself again, because as yet has decided to change the order of events. I mean, it would be very uncomfortable if somebody decided to put the bar up to 175 at this moment. I can tell you that Frank Montague, the head coach for Germany, has just wandered on and had a cool look at proceedings. But the Turkish contingent, Conley, his turn will come perhaps another day. But Ergun Batmaz, he's still very much in the firing line. Now Rudolph with something of a smile. But is he going to smile in just about a minute from now? Member of the Army Sports Club in Trenčín. Finished 5th in Europe last year. He's not going to finish 5th this year, so that's, I'm afraid, a decline. He finished 20th in the Olympic Games. $172.5 for the third time. Again, very deep and holding. No. So I'm afraid no lift and no total. 3 crosses you can see there behind or beside the weight. The second and third attempts he got just that little bit closer. Now you see the bar there, it's really close to the windpipe. If it was any closer, it really would be cutting off the oxygen. But not to be, I'm afraid. This is Zeliakov for Bulgaria, hands of Peshalov, loosening him up. And he really needs to make an amends. He was down in 3rd place, bronze medal in the snatch, but he's 5 kilos off the pace in his quest for the overall gold. He was the overall silver medalist, so he's 5 kilos behind his teammate Zlatan Vanev. He also happens to be heavier, which is yet another disadvantage. So 175 kilos on the bar now. And he really needs to get this first lift in. Good enough? No. Here's the answer. And I must say, that could well spell the end of his evening, even though he still has got 2 lifts. He looks very disconsolate when he fails here. Just a little fussy on the clean. Here's a man who, so far, has pleased the coaching team. 3 lifts. Frank Montague in the centre. And now here's Andreas Bem. 175 on this bar. Out of 4 at the moment. See here, he's so well organised, this man. Well, he's been lifting for that many years, and the coordination between him and the coaches is spot on. Split. Holds. Next man, François Demer of Belgium. He's got 170 already, so he's going for 175 now. Now this is more than he lifted a month ago in Pori in Finland. And tonight is it? Almost there. 175. He's got one more chance. You can see here, again you can see it wasn't a smooth clean. He had to really fight all of that. The length of time the bar was on the shoulders, it was taking his toll. He couldn't lock those arms out, and he couldn't hold it steady. Helicoptering around and then forced to put it down as he got to the edge of the platform. Same weight, second time, Zeliakov. Last year was 3rd in the snatch, 2nd in the clean and jerk, which gave him 2nd overall. He's going to struggle to do that tonight at the moment. So finally puts the bar down with an expression of really disappointment, really. He just looks disheartened at the moment because it hasn't gone his way so far this evening. So 175, still low to come in and start their challenge. Adrian Popper of Hungary, with teammate Attila Ferry. And Vanev has yet to start, as has Batmus. So for the 3rd time, 175, 30 seconds in which to get the bar moving for François Demer to complete his European Championship challenge for 1997. He wasn't that far away. If he could get the clean without any problem. Give himself a chart. No, just caught his knee on the way up there. not to be, and he ends with 170 to go with the 145, to give himself a total of 315 kilos. But remember, he's got years on his side. Only 21, and one of the best prospects we've seen for Belgium for some time. See, just watch there. Just looked to me as if he might have just caught the knee on the way up. Not badly, but just enough to convince him to put the bar down. Now here's Adrian Popper. Adrian, 25 years of age. A bit disappointing in the snatch, only 9th, having lifted 137.5 kilos. Well, it got unbalanced and it got crooked and he couldn't pull it back. And 177.5. It's a failure. You really need to get the first phase without fuss, using the minimum of effort. You can't really see from that picture there, but the bar is down a lot on the right-hand side. He couldn't pull that back. Here, we'll have a better chance to see that now. Drives up, readjusts it. And as he pushes up, he really gets unbalanced there. You can see that right elbow buckling and the bar tipping down. So, Vanev. Still to come. But it's Popper before him. 177.5. 12 years he's been at this game. 8th in the Europeans in 1993. That would be about his best European performance. But he was a very decent 5th in the Olympic Games and jerked 172.5. That was a better clean than the first attempt. Now, can he get it up there? Now. Now, the buzzers didn't go. 1 red. 2 to 1. 2 to 1. The electronics didn't work, but the judges have given a manual signal. By 2 to 1, he's been given that lift of 177.5. But some confusion there. The Belgian referee in the middle, Bruno Felicetti. He was the man who decided that this wasn't a good lift, that the arms weren't locked out to his satisfaction. As you can see, remember, this man is holding 177.5 kilos above his head, and he weighs 69.7 kilos, so well over twice his own body weight. So the winner of the snatch phase, now this is his first clean and jerk attempt at 180 kilos. Lifted this weight and a bit more last year in Norway. Had a long time on the shoulders, but he's got the strength to do this. And Vanev takes the lead in the clean and jerk. And he's got all the advantages. Leads the competition, got the light body weight over all his main contenders. But the interesting thing will be to see where he comes out, and if he does, what weight he goes for. For him, it's Ergun Batmaz, also with 180 kilos on the bar. Now, this is the duel, really, between Zlatan Vanev, who beat this man in the snatch by virtue of the lighter body weight. Both men lifted 155. All this would do is to put Batmaz back to where he was, which is equal on weight, but behind on body weight. Kilos, well lifted, and now perhaps we are getting the fun and games here between the Bulgarian and the Turk. Andreas Bem now will be next to lift, and he's going for 180 as well. Coach Montague watching on here. Just looking with Andres, lifted 180 in Atlanta, finishing 10th in this category. Still with 20-odd seconds. Not a mistake so far, and one more lift to go. Frank smiles, and they're having some fun. Gets the clean. Really focused, tunnel vision. Really nice to see a man enjoying his work. By complete contrast, here's Plamen Zeliaskov, who's looked very disconsolate for most of the evening. Coming in for his third lift at 180. Interesting enough, Bem and Zeliakov are exactly the same body weight. So, by the rules of the competition, in terms of the clean and jerk competition, that would give the advantage to the German because he's lifted 180 first. Plamen's got to do this, though, before it matters. Yes, he's established it. And 180 kilos to go with the 150 he got from the snatch. He finishes on a total of 330. Interesting, Ben was 5 kilos behind the Bulgarian on the snatch. Were he to be extremely brave and go for 185, he could actually get ahead of him if he lifted it because of the body weight differences. Sorry to keep emphasizing that, but it's so much part of the competition. Now, Popper of Hungary, he's taken 177.5. That was his second lift, and that was successful. The first one wasn't. He's now looking at 180. Third and final attempt. Well, it's not the first time, it's the second time, and it's happened to the same man. You can understand his disgust. He's got 2-1 again, but 180 to go with his snatch total keeps him behind the German, I'm afraid. And it doesn't look to me as if he's going to get any medals, but he's scored a respectable total, but he's had a rotten piece of luck with the technical equipment, forcing him to hold the bar over his head twice now. All of that now means that we're waiting for, I think, Andreas Bem, who should be next onto the stage. So here is Andreas. I think he might well put the weight up. 185 is what we need, and there's Attila Ferry just being woken up. Looking as if he's definitely going to lift, which is good news, because he's capable of 190, won the world jerk, clean and jerk, China over 190. Now, here are the jury members. Slovakian. And I think the Russian. Just going up to the jury table there. The two referees on the right, the jury, Jeff Platt of England there, the British representative on the jury, and they're all discussing, particularly with Popper, the bar, where the bar was, as you saw, was tipped down on the right-hand side. And what they're discussing is whether that right elbow was locked out. It doesn't matter that the bar was tipped down necessarily, but what does matter is that the bar was locked out. At the moment, this has held up Vanev, who's waiting to come on stage and lift, but he can't do that because neither of the two referees are in position. So it'll hold up now. Remember, we've still got Ergun Batmas with 2 lifts. So, what have they decided? Well, I think they've decided that the result stands as far as Adrian Popper's lifts. Benefit of the doubt, probably. And Plamen Zeliazkov of Bulgaria now faces the bar with 185 kilos. To re-establish a lead over Batmaz of Turkey. Now that's good lift. 3 white lights from the 3 judges. He marches on, puts the pressure back on the Turk. Still Andreas Bem, who hasn't, Montague, I can tell you, is just off stage there. They're prowling around. What are they doing, the Germans? $185. Sure, it's Andreas Bem who wants to come in and lift 185. He doesn't need to go any further, really, in that sense. But Andreas Bem has got there, and he's got a minute from here, so they've done it well. Now this is 185, which would put him on terms with Zeliazkov and put him ahead of Zeliazkov, because it would give him 330, but he'd ahead in the overall table, as well as in the clean and jerk, ahead of the Bulgarian. Clean is okay. Big moment, this. Well, he did everything he possibly could. It was a brave attempt. Didn't quite come off. And 180 he ends on. But Montague is not particularly disappointed with that. 180 kilos gives him total here, Andreas Bem, as he puts that bar down of 325. Now here's there's Pashalov on the left, who's been at the centre of the orchestration of Vanev's attempt to keep his title. But here comes the X factor. Attila Ferry, 187.5, 3 failures in the snatch. So the clean and jerk is his potential or possibility for redemption. You wouldn't put your house on him, would you? Not at the moment. No. And it's not the Attila Ferry that we saw in Atlanta. 187.5. Really needs help now, Ferry, if he's to get anything out of this evening. Down for, again, perhaps too long. Didn't manage to achieve the clean as economically as he needed. And already addressing the bar, I can tell you, is Ergun Batmaz for Turkey. $187.5 kilos on the bar. This would put him ahead. Oh, Vanev, and it does. And he's waited to play that card. So now, Batmaz with a 2.5 kilo advantage goes into the lead and eliminates the body weight advantage that Vanev has. But Vanev has 1 more lift left, and so has Batmaz. So it's Turkey versus Bulgaria, the bronze medalist of last year, with the bar above his head successfully at 187.5. But which way is it going to go? Before all of that, it's Ferry again. $187.5. But he's been a total disappointment so far, Ferry. And I'm afraid this is not looking good. He's got 1 more chance. And Gluckman, his coach, I'm sure he just doesn't know what to do. It's shades of Zalilis. And Ferry just disappearing away round the back of the platform. It's still on 187.5. The time clock showing 2 minutes for Ferry at the moment. And that could be his last lift. And there's Vanev, 187.5. Is he going to come in? If he gets 187.5, Vanev, then he goes back into the lead. Because once again, he and Ergun Batmaz will be exactly equal on weight, but Vanev will have the advantage being the lighter man. There's Ergun Batmaz. He's got 1 lift left. He's got 187.5 on the board. Is that going to be decisive? There are the 2 men. Furthest away in the blue and the green is the Bulgarian. Closest to you is the Turk. The 2 groups of coaches clustered together. The clock ticking down for Ferry now, who's going to take this 3rd attempt, 187.5. Now Ferry is lighter than Batmaz, heavier than Vanev. So if he did pick this up, and Vanev didn't, And Batmaz failed his third attempt. Ferry could end up with a gold medal in the clean and jerk. It's that bizarre. But first, this man's got to put this bar above his head and hold it there in the prescribed manner and for the prescribed time. And he can't do it. So that little theory has just gone straight out the window. Ferry has had a night to forget. 3 failures in the snatch, 3 failures in the clean and jerk. Nothing for the Hungarian, and that will have done him absolutely no good whatsoever. Tumbles down. And the bar will now go up in weight. And it's a pretty dramatic increase, I can tell you. It's going to be 190 kilos. Vanev. Now this would force Batmaz to go to 192.5 kilos, which is an unbelievable test for the Turk if the Bulgarian makes this. So effectively, this is to retain the title. Gets the clean. This to retain his European Championship of 1997. Vanev fighting for this. And 3 white lights. He's been given that. Yes, he has. They think it's all over. But Batmaz does have one more lift. And it means, quite simply, that Vanev, who's got 190 from the clean and jerk, and 155, a total of 345 kilos. And Batmaz has accepted the challenge. And whilst you see this replay, I can tell you 192.5 kilos has been put up on the scoreboard. And here comes the man himself. Turkey, who've taken the 54-kilo gold medal. Gold medals at these European Championships so far. Second one going to Hafiz Suleimanoglu earlier today in 64 kilos. If he lifts this, he gets the 3rd Turkish gold medal of these championships. Otherwise, it goes to the Bulgarian. He's got the clean. Oh, yes! Oh, yes! The European champion for 1997. Ergun Batmaz of Turkey. The president's up there. The coaching team's up there. Everybody's in there. Vanev threw down the challenge. Batmaz accepted it. So a terrific finale there. Turkey and Batmaz getting the gold medal, and Vanev, the champion of 1996, probably thinking that 190 was enough. But this man, Ergun Batmaz, at the age of 29, world bronze medalist in 95, European bronze medalist in 96, but now European champion. And suddenly the championships have really come alive here in Rijeka. Not a record, but 192.5 kilos. And a deserved winner and a great finale to the second day of these championships. 193 kilos is the European record, so he was just behind 195 kilos, so this was a real test here. And that's a really good piece of lifting So the totals there, just looking at Batmaz, 347.5 kilos. And that's 2.5 better than Vanev. And the president congratulating. That's Kinan Newhood on the right there in the suit. Halil Mutlu, the 54-kilo champion, in as well. Completely swamped there. He's just getting out of the bottom of your screen there, disappearing. And confirmation, this is the clean and jerk results. You can see there that 192.5 kilos better than Vanev. And Adrian Popper of Hungary, 180 kilos, beating the German. Just to explain that situation, they were both on 180, but Adrian Popper, 0.1 of a kilo, at 63.70 Popper, 63.80 the body weight, and that's why the German finds himself in 4th place. And Zeliakov, you can see, also on 180 kilos. His 3rd lift was successful, but he also was 69 kilos, 80. Sorry for the confusion there. That's why he loses out. So Popper essentially gets that medal by virtue of being the lightest of the 3 men on 180 kilos. In the total competition, there it is, 2.5 kilos. That splendid competition, just 2 lifts there. Vanev putting 109 bar, thinking it would be enough, but Batmaz saving his best till last to take it. Zeliakov, the overall bronze medalist. 12 months ago, he was the overall silver medalist. And Bem of Germany in 4th place. A creditable 325 kilos there for Andreas Bem. And just quickly checking on the championships there. Of course, Bem was the European champion back in 1986. Popper, good work in the clean and jerk, hauling him up into 5th place. And a very creditable finish there for the Belgian, Francois Demeur, with 315 kilos, well behind the likes of Batmaz and Vanev, but that's a good position. 315 kilos, just checking, that's exactly the same total weight that he lifted in Finland, in Pori, at the European Union Championships 4 weeks ago. So the medal party just getting ready. The Turkish supporters have not been disappointed this evening. They've been rewarded well and truly. 2 gold medals on the 2nd day. So the medal party coming on to the stage, and the first medal ceremony, and the main ceremony that we'll see here on Eurosport will be the ceremony for the overall title.
Victory ceremony for 70 kilograms category.
So an exciting evening in the end. Disappointment for Ferry of Hungary, but a competition that was well worth waiting for. 2 principals equal on weight after the snatch. But Batmaz not tempted to go for something ridiculous to try and get the lead on the snatch. Waited. For his moment, and finally got the reward.
Gospodin Marcello Zorati, dopredsjednik Europske federacije u dizanju utega, gospodin Nikola Molov, član Europske federacije u dizanju utega, i gospođa Branka Nikosilov.
Last time a European Championship medal will be awarded at this particular weight categories. All the weight categories realigned at the end of the year. The new weight will be used in the Olympic Games in
Gold medal.
I should say in 2000, being introduced on the 1st of January 1998.
Zlatan, Bulgaria.
Well, in fact, a little change in protocol here. We've got the snatch medals being awarded first.
Second and silver medal with 342.5 kilos. Batmats Ergun Tarki.
So here's Batmaz Ergun getting the silver medal in the by virtue of just missing out on body weight. And then the... I just wonder whether the officials here have got this seriously disorganized, because we were expecting the medal ceremony for the overall, and we seem to be giving out the medals at the moment for the...
Mike again, the victory ceremony, I beg your pardon.
Slight embarrassment here for the organisation, who can't seem to get their totals sorted out. And gonna have to take all the medals back and reissue the medals.
And European champion with 347.5 kilos, Batmats Ergun Tarki.
Well, they've finally sorted it. This is the medal that matters most of all, 192.5 kilos, and the medal awarded by
second and silver medal with 345
Cello from the European Weightlifting Federation. The overall silver going to last year's champion, Zlatan Vanev.
Third and bronze medal with 330
and the bronze medal.
Zeslakov Plamen, Bulgaria.
Well, the Bulgarian Zeslakov drops down one place from last year. And has the total of 330 kilos. Just checking that, that's 2.5 less than he lifted last year. But Vanev only, well, he lifted 337.5, so he's improved to 345. And Batmaz, though, 327.5. He's really improved. He only lifted 175 in the clean and jerk last year, and that's where the big improvements come. He's lifted 192.5 kilos, and that has made the difference this year. So Turkey, another, in fact, the third gold medal of these, the 1997 European Championships. The anthem of Turkey. Enjoyed that this evening. For myself, David Goldstrom, and the Eurosport team in Croatia, thanks for your company. Tomorrow it's the 76 and 83 kilo categories live here on Eurosport, and that 83 kilo category includes, of course, the appearance of the flamboyant German Mark Huster, the German Olympic silver medal. Coming up, American darts for now, though, from Rijeka in Croatia. Goodbye.
Victor ceremony for snatch.